Welcome to Photoshop Tips from the Digital Transformer. I'm Dennis Denbart, and in this session we're going to look at an easy way to spread or choke a clipping path using Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop together. Now, if you've ever worked with clipping paths, you'll know that sometimes you need that path to come in just a little bit tighter to make sure none of the background or unwanted parts of the image show in the final layout. Here's an image that shows a good example of what it is I'm talking about. Now, for this big iron G, I've already made a path around it. And to make the path easy to see, I've turned it into this color fill layer with the stroke. If we wanted to make the path come in a little bit tighter here, we could try going to Edit, Free Transform, and transform this path in. But as you see this, pretty quickly you see that the path comes out of register with the G. It's a little bit coming off the G here and all around, because the scaling is proportional, but that's not how we need the path to be scaled. We need the path to really come in a little bit all the way around the image here. So to do that, we're going to use a trick that I've learned in Adobe Illustrator. First thing we're going to do is click back on our iron G here and click on our outline. Now we're going to do something to set this up. We're going to export this path over into Adobe Illustrator, but before we do that, we're going to do something to set it up so that it's easy to bring back in. What I mean by that is we're going to go to select all. We're going to select the entire canvas here, and now what we're going to do is go to our paths layer, and we're going to say make work path. We use the tolerance 1, that's fine. We made our work path. Now this path is simply a path that goes all the way around the border of our image. We're going to come back over here to our outline, and using the black arrow we're going to select our path and we're going to copy it. Now we're going to go to work path and we're going to paste that path in. So now you see in the path dialog here we have the inverse of our G, but basically we just need to worry about the path coming in here. Okay, so we're going to click off this. We're going to save this path. Let's call this outline 2. Okay, so we have outline 2 saved. Now what we're going to do, since outline 2 has both the path that goes all the way around the image and the path for the G itself, as shown here, we're going to now export this outline 2 over into Adobe Illustrator. To do that, we're going to come over here to File, choose Export, Paths to Illustrator. We're going to choose outline 2. It's very important to make sure you're choosing the right path. We're going to choose outline 2 and we're going to say OK. Now we're going to say this is going to be the name of the file. We're going to choose a folder for it to go in. Always a good point to make sure you know exactly where you're putting this thing. We're going to put it in the folder called path choking. We're going to save. Replace existing one. Now we're going to go over to Adobe Illustrator where I already have this file open. And again, here to make the path easier to see, I've given it a stroke for this. So you can see this is the path for our G. And this here is the path for our border. So we're going to choose the path for the G, and now what we're going to do is come up here to Object, Path, and choose Offset Path. Now offset path is a real magical kind of thing, because with offset path, this is where you can bring it in just a little bit. We have it defined in points here, but you can bring your path in just a little bit in from all the way around here. If you enter in a negative number, it will make the path smaller, which is choking the path. If you enter a positive number, it will make the path larger. Here we'll use preview, and you can see how it comes in. The smaller path is our new one. If we take the negative number away from here, now you see the larger path is our new one. So in this case, we're looking to choke the path in a little bit. And 6 points is probably a little bit too big. We're just going to make it like 3 points. Click preview on and off, and now we see this new path is coming in just a little bit around here. We're going to click OK for now. But of course you use the preview to get a sense of how much smaller or larger you're making your path. It's all going to depend on the size of your image. We'll click OK. Now what we're going to do is we can turn off our original path. We just have the smaller path here. So now we're going to select the border and the new path, and we're going to copy. Using the black arrow, we've copied the border path and the new path. You see here with the blue outline. Now we've copied it. Now we're going to switch back over to Photoshop. We're going to make a new path here, and we're going to paste this in. Now when we paste this into Photoshop, you see it gives us these options here. We're going to choose path. We want to make sure we're bringing this in as a path. Now we do that, and we see here in our new path that we have our image here. We have our new path here. And you see that the path is coming in just a little bit inside the G. If we zoom in, you can see this a little bit closer. You see all the little handles here indicating where the path is. So now it's just a little bit tighter. It's cutting off a little bit of the G, but it's going to make sure that none of that G, none of the background wood or anything else from the background shows through when we use this as a clipping path. Now we're almost set here, but what we have is we have this extra path around here. We don't need that path anymore. So what we're going to do is use our black arrow. We're going to make sure we haven't selected any of the path, and we're going to select the path that is on the border with our black arrow. Now you see these little handles here. They're selected here, and we have our path selected here. We're going to hit delete, which gets rid of that. So now we only have path 1 is our outline, is our new outline path, and it's just that. So we're going to now come over here to our paths palette. We're going to choose clipping path. We're going to choose path 1, say OK, and now we're going to save our file, save as. Again, make sure you know what you're calling your image. Make sure you know where you're putting it. We're going to save it as a, in this case, we will save this thing as a Photoshop EPS file, because that's usually what you're going to use when you bring it into a layout program. We have our iron path name.eps, save, and we're done. So that's how you bring this thing in. Rather than having to move every single little point here, we use Adobe Illustrator, the offset path move, to tighten up our path a little bit and make the job really easy. That's all for now. Hope to see you next time.